Let's get started. Trump and Vice President Mike Pence officially accepted their party's nomination this week at the virtual Republican National Convention. For his thoughts on the RNC and the state of this campaign is the executive vice president of the Trump Organization and the president's son. I spoke with him in person from the White House. Here's my exclusive interview with Eric Trump. What does your father have to do at this convention to close the gap with those undecided voters? They're a very small group of people.
Yeah. If you look at the Democratic Party, they're fundamentally, some of the things they stand for are just not American. I spoke about this a lot in my speech last night.
They want to disrespect our national anthem by taking a knee while our armed forces lay down their lives every day to protect our freedom. They do not want the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools. Many of them don't want one nation under God. The Democrats want to defund and disrespect our law enforcement. The Democrats want an America where your thoughts and opinions are censored when they do not align with their own.
They want to censor us. They want to silence us. They want to attack our, religion. We got criticized. Why is the family together? Why is the family fighting together? I mean, we're missing that in our society. We're missing the family unit, and we need to bring that back together. And, fundamentally, you see also this lack of law and order on the Democratic side. You see what's happening in these cities. You see Kamala Harris talking about how ICE officers are like the KKK. They want to defund law enforcement. I mean, it's fundamentally un-American, some of these things, and I think we're on the right side of these issues.
On Thursday, earlier, Kamala Harris issued a rebuttal against your father. It was basically a COVID indictment, if you will. Is that an effective line of attack, politicizing this virus?
Well, that's all they do, because they have nothing else. They know they're wrong on the issues. They know their candidate's weak. I mean, listen, 2 months ago, she was calling him, meaning Kamala Harris was calling Biden a racist. She was saying, I believe the women that have accused you of awful things. She was saying that 2 months ago. And now, yes, I would love to be your... I mean, the problem, Raymond, is these people are phony. And you know it. You cover it every single night. These people are phony. And Kamala Harris, she comes from San Francisco, right? Look at that city right now. You walk down the street, people are defecating in the street. You're walking your beautiful children to school over hypodermic needles. You can't afford to live there because the taxes are so high. There's crime all over the place. There's drugs all over the place. There's homelessness all over the place, right? That city represents everything that this country does not want to be right now. It's a beautiful place. It's such a shame to say that. But, if she's the model, and if that government is the model of what we want in the country, then, help us. Really, honestly, help us.
At your speech, and the speeches of many of the participants, indeed, they're markedly different from any I've heard at a GOP convention. Tell me what the goal was. There was an upbeat patriotism, a diversity at play that I haven't seen before. What's the goal of this convention?
Well, first of all, we want it to be different. We didn't want to have career politicians in there. If you look at the DNC, every single person, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, I mean, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, I mean, these people have actually never signed the front of a check. I mean, they've been dependent on government their entire adult lives. Look at ours. Last night we had a lobster fisherman because my father saved the lobster industry in Maine. Tonight we have a logger from Minnesota because my father saved the logging industry and so many others. I mean, you've got real voices in there. Second of all, you had family, so you have sincerity. You have people who actually love each other and actually, quite frankly, know each other. And then third of all, we're not apologizing for America being the greatest country in the world. And that's what you heard from the DNC. That's all they want. We're sorry that America's great and we've done bad things as a country. No, we don't apologize for this country. We bleed red, white, and blue. And again, so much of my speech was based on that. We don't burn the American flag. And we love this country and we love God and we love free speech, and we want to be left alone, and we want our kids to have wonderful educations and have school choice and so many other things and religious liberty. And that was totally devoid of everything that they talked about. Not once was it mentioned. Not once was law enforcement thanked. And not once did they, condemn, the violence in the streets of these cities run by liberal, hard left activists. I mean, so that's the difference, Raymond.
You brought up your speech, and I want to talk about it for a second. At the end, there was this repeated cry
to the voiceless, shamed, censored, and canceled. My father will fight for you. To our farmers who work dawn to dusk to keep our plates full, my father will fight for you. To every single mother and father, to our veterans, our coal miners, and to the American worker, my father will fight for you.
You were praised, by the way, for raising policy issues. Even among some of your liberal critics, they said it was the only policy speech we heard all evening. Why did you decide to focus in that direction and not go in the personal testimonial direction, which children of presidents or candidates normally, that's the posture they assume. Let me tell you about the man you don't see on TV.
And I certainly did at the end. I mean, I really looked my father in the eyes, and I'm proud of him. I mean, I'm really, really proud of him. And you know that as a family, there's never been a family that's fought harder probably in American political history than we have. But you know why? Because no one gave us a choice. No one gave us a chance. You know, we had to fight together. We didn't have any other friends. This isn't our world. This isn't what we do. We're new to this place. All these other places have been, people have been around. Joe Biden's been around for 47. Listen, I'm 37. Joe Biden's been around for 47 years. So he's been around exponentially longer than I've been alive. But listen, I think you have to hit them on the policy, right? I mean, we do stand up for law enforcement because we love men and women in blue. We do stand up for the farmer because they feed all of us every single day as much as they've been attacked by the other side. We do stand up for religious freedom and religious liberty in churches. I mean, under Obama, you couldn't even say Merry Christmas. If you said Merry Christmas, you were literally ostracized. And guess what? I mean, even here, they called the Christmas tree here the holiday tree. And if you called it the Christmas tree, you literally get shunned. And guess what? Under my father, they're saying Merry Christmas again. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
I do want to talk about religion, which really, it has been in evidence every night at this convention. Talk of God, a sister speaking, Cardinal Dolan opening the proceedings. There is and I'm not saying you have Catholics who are endorsing your father, though some are, but there's a comfort with religion and people of faith that I don't remember seeing with this regularity in the past. What's the message? What are you all trying to convey there?
Well, listen, we're a nation based on faith. That's who we are. It's a nation we were founded on. And when you see that they want to take the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools, when you see them taking, under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, like the DNC did, like we talked about before, when they, when they take "In God We Trust" off of the dollar bill, they were actively lobbying to take "In God We," off of our currency. Go on, take religion out of schools, no prayer, no anything. I mean, the family unit is what makes America exceptional. Religion is what makes America exceptional. You wouldn't have so many of the problems that we have as a nation if you actually had more religion and you had more family and people were more indoctrinated and there was more forgiveness and there was more love and emotion and compassion and frankly, prayer. And I think that's what we're trying to get out. And when you see the other side and you see the attacks on Christianity and you see the attacks on organized religion, I'm not just talking about Christianity. In fact, many religions are attacked every single day. It can't happen. It's not the nation that we are. We are one nation under God in this country.
You talked about love. You talked about family. I was struck by Herschel Walker's comments early in the week.
It hurt my soul to hear the terrible names that people call Donald. The worst one is racist. I take it as a personal insult that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. People who think that don't know what they're talking about. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump.
You grew up watching this relationship. What was that like? Did you know Herschel? You must have known him as a child and into adulthood.
We did. We knew him as a child. In fact, he played with the New Jersey Generals, which my father had for a long time. And Herschel Walker is an amazing guy, one of the greatest football players of all time. And he did know him. And it's really nice when you see people go out there and put their neck out like that. And I know the man. I've known him for 37 years. He's been a dear friend of mine, and I love the man. And I don't think there's anybody that's ever done more for African American community than my father's done. Look at unemployment. Look at everything. Look at And by the way, when you look at some of the violence in the streets, the people who want the greatest police forces in this country are actually so many minority communities in this country because, those communities need policing more in many cases, and you're seeing this in so many of the inner cities than others. They want it, and so you see my father's approval rating with, and it's been a beautiful thing to see, and I think people are reading through. For the other side, everything is racist or is this or xenophobic. Or I remember, when COVID first came into the country, the father cut off access to China. He did it smartly to protect America. Then you had the Democrats coming out and it's xenophobic. It's this, it's that. It's always something, right? It's always a personal attack. And my father doesn't care what the color of your skin is, right? I mean, he wants a great nation for everyone. He wants a wealthy nation for everyone. He wants jobs. He wants the strongest military. He wants the best schools. He wants school choice. He wants our veterans to be taken care of. That's what my father cares about. He doesn't care about skin color.
Before I let you go, I have to talk about Melania's speech in the Rose Garden.
I don't want to use this precious time attacking the other side, because as we saw last week, that kind of talk only serves to divide the country further.
That was a very different approach and tone from what we heard the week before. Deliberate Are we going to hear more of that as we move toward Election Day from the whole campaign?
Listen, I think it was very classy of her to do. I really do. It's nice when somebody can kind of take a step back and deliver on a positive message and a nice message without having to take those cheap shots that we were talking about a minute ago. And unfortunately, that's politics. But it's nice to see her kind of rise above it, and she certainly did. And I think she got great praise for doing so. And frankly, you saw the exact opposite the week before, where everything was a cheap shot. And most of the time, presidents serve their time in office and then they kind of sail into the sunset, and they don't opine on political matters. And seems like the past administration hasn't done that all that well. But Melania definitely took the high road, and she did a beautiful job last night. She was eloquent, and I was very proud to watch that.
Final question. The ratings have been up and higher for this Republican convention than the Democratic convention, but it has to be awkward. I mean, you delivered your speech to an empty room. Conventions are an opportunity for campaigns and candidates to readjust and reset their public image. What did your father have to accomplish through this reset, if you will?
Yeah.
What is it that the American people or the American voter might have missed that they needed to see this week?
It's interesting. I spoke, obviously, and you remember, and you covered it very well, the 2016 convention. I spoke there, and you had 30,000 people in a room, and everybody's going crazy, and they've got banners, and they've got, they're waving things around, and they're ringing cowbells and everything else. Because that's normally how kind of the, and the excitement the first time with the confetti falling from the ceiling and everything. It's incredible. This time, you're actually talking to people in their homes, and the tone for me was very, very different. But you're actually talking to somebody who's sitting on their couch, and I think it brought out a sincerity in everybody that you probably didn't feel in 2016. 2016 was electric. It was great, and that's what that time needed. Yeah. I think we needed sincerity this time, and I think we nailed it. I think we nailed it perfectly, and I really think we did deliver the message to homes, and the ratings have been absolutely off the charts. And
what's the message, though, they needed to get about your father that they've missed in the coverage of the intervening years since his last election?
Well, listen, my father's a fighter, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody sees that every day. He's also the greatest man in the world. I mean, he's my best friend. He really is. And you see how close we are as a family, and you see how we fight together as a family every single day. He doesn't have bad bone in his body. He's the last guy in the world that needed this job. You know that. You saw the lifestyle that he lived before. He lives a far worse life, getting attacked by savages every single day, but he loves his country. He hated the direction it was going in, and that's why we fight. We don't need to be doing this. I'm proud of him, and I love him, and we're going to win again.